What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of 30 Minutes with a Millionaire. If you're new to the channel, first and foremost, or you're returning to the channel and you haven't done so yet, go ahead and do this right now. Hit the subscribe button next to it, click the notification bell, and make sure you like this video right now because this is going to tell the YouTube algorithm that we're actually doing something right. We're providing value, and that's our mission, is to be the #1 channel on YouTube that offers the most amount of value and that changes the most amount of lives. Nothing less, nothing more. If you're new to this series, every single week we go live and we pretty much just answer your guys' questions. I get constructive criticism and feedback on the channel. We try to get you guys unstuck. So regardless of where you are in your business, whether it's starting, whether it's scaling, whether it's exiting, any way that we can help you, from social media to branding to product research to finances, any way that we can help you, that's what this is all about. So without further ado, guys, go ahead and drop your questions down below. And I want to emphasize that the only dumb question is a question that does not get asked. Now, for those of you guys that are tuning into the replay, just because it's not live doesn't mean you can't ask me questions. Make sure you drop a question down below in the chat if you're watching this replay, because I read all the questions, not a VA, not somebody on my team. I read all of the comments on YouTube and I respond to all of them personally. So if you miss one of these or you're watching the replay, make sure you still utilize it. That way you can get your questions answered. Francisco says, I just finished your book. It was it was such great value. Do you have plans to write another one? Francisco, it means the world to me. I appreciate it. I spent a lot of time writing this book. I'm not an author. I don't write books. I never inspired to be an author. However, there's not really any good quality information that can help you and guide you as to identifying, is the Amazon business a good business? What is the Amazon business? How does it work? Why does it work? Like all these questions that a lot of beginners have, and even more advanced people have. There's no like good resources that are affordable, right? So that's the reason why I wrote this book, One Product Away. So you get to learn about my journey. You get to learn about, you know, the formula. What is the AMZ formula? How did I come up with it? What is it? What is it? How do you follow it? And like, if you're thinking about starting the business and you don't have enough context as to, is this a business that's for me? Is this a business that's going to last? This is a business that I'm going to thrive in or I'm going to enjoy building? Then this is your best bet. And the best thing for you guys is the book is free. I literally cover the print of this book and the facilitation of the book. All you cover is shipping and handling. So I don't have like a team here that ships these out and so on and so forth. I send them to a company that stores them, picks them, packs them, and ships them, similar to what Amazon does. It's called a fulfillment company. So all I ask you guys to do is cover shipping and handling. I cover the cost of the book. That way we can get the message out to as many people as possible and change as many lives as possible. Francisco says, where should a beginner start with FBA? I have $2,000 ready to deploy. So there's a few steps. And if you want, you can drop the link for the book for those who are asking about the book or haven't gotten your copy of the book, One Product Away. You can drop the link. It'll be popping up. Let's break through the steps. Let's go to the whiteboard really quick and we'll break through. Here's some secret sauce from the last 30 Minutes with a Millionaire here on the board that you guys probably shouldn't see. You guys should go check that one out because it was amazing. But when it comes to starting an Amazon business, like I want to break this down and make this as easy as possible to digest and understand. Which camera am I looking at? This one? All right, cool. So a lot of people overcomplicate the process of starting an Amazon business. First and foremost, I like to tell people you're not starting an Amazon business because 9 times out of 10, and I want you to understand, there's only 2 ways that you can fail, right? 2 ways that you can fail, right? And I want you guys to write this down. I want you guys to really resonate with this because this isn't anything and everything, not just this business, but there's only 2 ways that you can fail. Not starting or giving up. When you look at failure, when you look at not achieving, and I hate failure because it's such a rude, like harsh word that like people feel like failure is like death where you just can't come back from it. First and foremost, the most successful people in the world have failed multiple businesses, have made huge mistakes where they lost tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of dollars. And that's what made them great, right? In fact, I like to read a lot of autobiographies and a lot of case studies on very successful people. Very successful, like multi-millionaires and billionaires and founders and CEOs of Fortune 500 companies actually encourage their executives and their leaders within their organization to fail fast, fail forward, and fail often. So, like, first of all, let's take the failure word out of our mind and understand that failure is a form of progression, because if you're failing, that means you're making mistakes. And if you're making mistakes, that means that you're towards growth, because you cannot have what you've never had if you don't do what you've never done. And a part of doing what you've never done is mistakes. No one has flawlessly, I'm going to use the analogy of video games because I'm a video game guy. No one has flawlessly like went through a video game their first time without dying or losing their life or losing like their powers or whatever, right? It's just impossible. However, it's addicting, and we continue to do it because the more you make mistakes, the more you fail, the closer you get to beating the game. Well, in this beating this game called life, or becoming successful, or entrepreneurship, you have to make mistakes, right? So I want you to understand that there's only two ways that you cannot succeed at this thing called Amazon or anything, and it's by not starting or giving up. I've been teaching this since 2017. I've been in the business since 2014, 2015. And the reason why I'm here is not because I'm super intelligent or some freak of nature. I didn't have an option to stop because my life already sucked. And I never gave up, regardless of how much money I lost or how stressed out I was. When we study a lot of people that give up, who don't make it, 9 times out of 10, it is not their product. It's not their PPC. It's not their marketing. It's not the marketplace. It's not tariffs. It's not suppliers. It's not the business as a whole. It's not Amazon. It's none of those things. It's one of these two things, and it's tied to them, right? So if you can get past this and understand, okay, if this is a business that's for me, I'm going to choose to start now, right? And I'm not going to give up. Half the battle is already gone, right? If you look at success as a pie chart where it's 50-50, all right, 50% is me, 50% is the process. Okay? So by starting and identifying that I'm not going to give up and that this has to work or it has to work and that this is a real thing and that mistakes are going to be made, money is going to be lost. However, if I'm patient, persistent, and resilient, it's not about how, it's about when. Guess what? 50% of your success is already accomplished. All right? So the other 50% is on the process. So let's talk about the process. The initial question was, I have $2,000. I'm ready to start. What does that look like, right? How do I start? What should I be looking at? Now that you understand it's not an Amazon business, what type of business is it? It's the business of supply and demand, right? Here's a product right here that's just on my table. Unplug this for me. This is like a USB and USB-C charging port, right? Where you can charge multiple devices. This is by Anchor. Anchor is a high 8/9-figure company that primarily sells electronic products that started on Amazon. Now they're all over the world, right? They're in Walmart, they're in Best Buy, but they primarily got notoriety and depth of market on Amazon. This is a physical product. Anchor is a physical brand. So Anchor is the private label brand. This is a product that was developed that already exists. Anchor didn't create this product. Anchor didn't get the patent for this product. They didn't invent this product. They found a product that everyday people like me and you are buying that have a need for. They put their brand on it. They differentiated it, right? Their branding is white and blue. They differentiated it. Then they used Amazon, which is a website or a platform, to store the product, pick the product, pack the product, ship the product, and to partner with them because that's their lead generation aspect, right? Because when you build a website or you build a business, you have to have leads. A high majority of the reason why a lot of businesses fail is because not the product, not because of the website, not because of the branding. They do not know how to market. They don't know how to attract dream customers. Well, all of our dream customers for these products that we're going to sell are already on Amazon. So if we're not starting an Amazon business, what are we starting? We're starting a physical product business. And the business is called supply and demand. Now, why am I telling you this? Some of you guys may think that this is fluff, but the reason why I'm telling you this is because it ties to these two things right here. Not starting and giving up. Why wouldn't you start? Because you don't know if the business is viable. You don't know if you can become successful in it. Why would you give up? Because you hit a rock. You hit a rock in the road. You hit a wall, a barrier, an objection. You have a loss of money, and you want to give up because you think that it's not viable anymore. You're not good enough, or the business is flawed, right? Well, if you understand it's supply and demand has existed since this world existed, right? Even when there was no brick and mortar, no retail, no online chains, people bartered for things. They exchanged one thing of value, which could be labor or fruits or vegetables or spice or animals for another thing of value, which is the thing that they need. That's supply and demand. So, number 2, now that we understand that, you're going to need to understand the business plan, right? Now, the business plan, is breaking down into a few different steps, right? Number 1, you have the entity. Number 2, you have, we can call it resources. And resources can be capital, it can be credit, it can be partners, it can be strategic partnerships, it can be lending, it can be working capital. These are all resources. And then you have the brand, and then you have the strategy. Now, notice before I talked about what you should do with the $2,000, I talked about these things. This is going to be the first step, which is your business plan. Entity, you have to identify what's good for you. The biggest one is going to be LLC, which is limited liability company. Now, I'm not going to break down entities and different entities and which one you should use. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't really, because there's people watching this channel from all around the world. If you email support@theamzformula.com, if you want a resource, we can plug you with a resource that can help you start your entity, find out which is best for you. They're experts. They'll hop on a call with you for free, right? That's something that we offer to our community. We offer to people who are part of the AMZ Formula, and because you guys are YouTube family, you guys can get that. So email support, and we'll get you that resource. Next is going to be resources. Identify how you're going to start your business, right? Do you have cash? Do you need to use credit? Do you need to get a loan? Do you need to do a partnership? If you don't have the resources, you need to become resourceful. If you don't have the resources, become resourceful. So if you learn all of this stuff and you believe in this stuff and you don't have the money, should you just not stop and forget about it? No, where there's a will, there's a way. So if you have the will, find the way. Go partner with a relative, a friend, a colleague, so on and so forth, come up with the funds. I talk about that on the channel, how you can do that more in depth in my programs. Next is going to be the brand. You want to identify the brand. There's 2 different types of brands. There is PL, which stands for private label brand. And then there's generic. Now, none of these are right or wrong. Here on the channel, I primarily teach private label, which is what the anchor was. However, generic would be where I have a brand where we just sell a ton of different SKUs, a ton of different things that generate money. You can make money doing either or. You want to identify from the beginning what you want to go. And here's the easiest thing. Do not get caught up here. If you have no SKUs and you're starting and you have a budget, start doing product research, and the products that you find, the final products that you find, then you can make the decision, do I want to build this out as a brand? Is this a good categorical starting? Is this a good category starting point for building a catalog? Or is this just a generic product where I can't really have a catalog or a bundle of products? However, I can make some fast cash or some cash flow. That's when you can identify which route you want to go. Now, you can have a private label and you can have a generic business, right? And we talk about that in different areas on the channel, and of course, more in depth in the AMZ Formula and our different programs. Next is going to be the strategy. Now, the strategy isn't private label or generic. The strategy is going to be start, ramp, finish. Start, ramp, finish. This is starting point, and I like to visually use this from 0 to 10K, okay? From 10K to 100K. And then finish, I like to look at as 100K plus. Now, this can be 1 million, 100K to 1 million, 100K to 10 million, 100K to 100 million, 100K to a billion, whatever you want to do. There's multiple products, physical products that have sold for 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures. And I learned this from my good friend, Alex Hermosi. He talks about starting the business with your end in mind, right? If you started your life with your death in mind, you wouldn't live anything in regret. You wouldn't live life in regret because you'd make sure that every single day you maximized your life because you wouldn't know when death was coming. Well, if you started your business thinking about the exit and what the exit looks like for you, then every single move, every single step throughout the business, it would then be calculated from step 1 to all the way to the exit. So think about this before we even start product research. One of the biggest reasons, and moving on after the business plan, is going to be product research, right? Product research. Now, the reason why I went over all that in depth is because product research is very important. You have the wrong product and the whole thing does not work. Well, why do people find the wrong product? How many of you guys down below in the comments say, me, would like for me to tell you how to make sure that you find a good product? Because when you launch a product and the product is not a fit, it's not that the product is bad. Usually, it's the person that found the product is bad. All products on Amazon sell. Get the misconception, the misbelief that I'm going to find a product and I'm going to hear crickets and it's not going to sell. If you can launch a product on Amazon, you have not invented that product. That product has sold before in the marketplace, in the world, and people on Amazon are looking for it. It will sell. All products will sell. Now, why don't they sell well? See, there's a huge misconception at the gurus in the marketplace that are shaming failed products and what a failed product looks like. A failed product is a failed person. You failed to do the research prior to launching the product. In the AMZ formula, and like part of my methodology when I'm teaching, is I talk about product validation and product verification. Product validation comes from the marketplace. Product verification comes from education. First, you get the competence, then you get the confidence. So oftentimes, you can have confidence but lack competence and vice versa, and that's where this mistake happens. So when we're looking at product research, I'm not going to talk about categories. I'm not going to talk about 1 pound or less or 12 inches by 12 inches or less. And I'm not going to talk about, these categories are untapped and going to make you a millionaire. What I'm going to talk about is identifying a winning product for you. Because somebody who has 1,000 SKUs is fine with 5% profit margin. Someone who has 1 SKU who's trying to quit their job, 5% profit margin is not going to cut it. All right? So you have to identify, and I'll break this down. You have to identify a winning product for me or you, right? What does a winning product for me or a winning product for you look like? All right, here's some things that you want to look at. Net per month. What is the take-home cash flow? Not the gross. The difference between gross and net is gross what you make, net is what you keep. What is the net per month? Most importantly, what money is required to start? I'm going to turn this thing into a skateboard if I don't put these locks on. So number one is how much money do I want to make per month? Number 2 is how much money is required to start? This is how we identify a winning product. Most people skip this, right? And then go right to this. Excuse me, let me do this again. Most people skip this and focus on this right here. That's where your mistake is going to be made. This is literally a recipe for disaster when starting a business and doing product research. If you're focused on how much money per month can I make, well, if I ask you how much money per month do you guys want to make with your first product, all you guys are going to say 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 100,000. All of that is great. Do you know how much it costs to start a business that will make you that amount of money? Most of you guys don't understand that, and that's where the failure comes from. So very simple, I'll break down. And honestly, let me just finish this list. After product research, you have product development. And I'm not going to go into depth on these. Product development, because I could literally take an entire hour for one question. Product development, number 4. Number 5 is going to be product launch. All right. And I won't go into depth on these, but I will tell you this goes into your product cost, or COG, which is costs of goods. And then product launch is going to be advertising. And you can start that with approximately $500, okay? So I can't tell you how much you need for your product because you have to identify a winning product for me. So your cost of goods is going to be based off of a winning product for you. A winning product for you is a ratio of how much do you want to make and what is it required to start. And then in the AMZ formula, when we teach you this, because like whenever you come into our AMZ Together program, before we even allow you to do product research, we make sure that you understand what you're actually trying to do in this business, not just let you free roam and be like, okay, how do I find a product that's going to make me a ton of money? What is your risk tolerance? What is your investment tolerance? Are you trying to sell this business in 3 years? Are you trying to pass this down to your children? What is your mission, vision, and what is your access? These are things that people are bypassing. And after doing this for years, this is how we have such a high success rate and how we serve our clients at a higher level, right? Once you identify all this stuff, these are things that you have to dial in and you have to figure out before you start your business. So how much do I recommend for this business and starting this business? The question that's asked every single week, the more money you have access to, the better. I would not start this business in 2022, 2023 with less than $5,000 in capital. Can you do it? Yes. I've done it. Other people have done it. Would I recommend it? No. And here's why. Because you are limiting the product research phase, because when you're doing product research, we're not doing this broad search where we're trying to find the best product, because what if you find the best product, but it's not a product fit for you? Can you afford it? Do you have the risk tolerance? Can you wait for it to sell? Can you wait X amount of months before it starts selling for you to be profitable? These are all variables that you need to consider before starting the business. So the big thing that people aren't talking about on these ads and on these channels, which are all just fluff, is this right here. And this is the sauce. So if you understand how the business works and how to make the business work for you, and then you understand, well, how do I fail? Is it in the product? No, it's in the process of finding the product. And if you have a process for finding the product and you identify, if I start now and don't give up and follow a process, then it's a process of elimination until you become successful. Success is inevitable with this because it's supply and demand. It's a business model that's exists for, hundreds of years, right? Fantastic question. Guys, go ahead and screenshot this so you can take notes. You guys should be taking notes as well because note takers are money makers. But make sure you guys screenshot this as well so you guys have it. Let's go big. Down below, guys, talk to me about the channel. Do you guys get value out of these? Because I enjoy Call of Duty, and there's a new one coming out that I could be playing the beta and, learning all the spots. So if you guys aren't finding value in this stuff and you guys don't enjoy this and you guys aren't like begging for me to do this, I would much rather be eating sushi and playing Call of Duty. So if you enjoy the channel and you guys are getting massive value, talk to me down below in the comments. Let me know what you think about the channel. Let me know the value that you get out of the channel. Should I keep doing these? If you've written the book, let me know. We're not going to spend time reading all these, but my team pulls them and I read them later, and it means the world to me. So if you have any constructive criticism about the book, if you've read the book, let me know what you feel about the book. If you're in the program, talk to us, right? Let us know what you think about the program, how it's helped you down below. A few people are asking about the done for you and AMZ Together and coaching and consulting. This is all about you guys and helping you guys. So this is what I want to do. If you're interested in working with me or my team, where we rather help you build a business step by step and hold your hand throughout the entire process, or potentially partner with you and build the business for you, just schedule a call right here. It's www.oneproductcallaway.com. Absolutely free, no risk, no hassle. Our team is literally going to answer all of your questions and help you identify if this is a good business for you and if we're a good fit and if we can help you. If not, we'll guide you in the direction of who can, or we'll give you some free resources to help yourself. Fair? Schedule a call right now. It's absolutely free because I don't sell anything on here other than tell you to grab my free book. So everything's free. What percentage of people that go into this business actually succeed? Chandler, I can't give you a percentage. Anybody who tells you 47.83%, people who come through this business specifically using my proprietary course is going to succeed. They're selling you wolf oil or snake oil, whatever the saying is. So nobody has a metric. Nobody has a percentage. I can't tell you how many percentage of people go through high school fail. I just know a majority of them because you're learning an outdated curriculum, trying to make updated finances, right? So it doesn't make sense. How can you learn something that's 100 plus years old and try to generate, like if you're trying to generate $1 million per year from traveling around the world and using just this thing right here, the school system's not going to teach you that because it didn't exist. In fact, the curriculum that they're teaching in school is outdated. Like, and it's proven that, I was reading this the other day that, oh man, I forgot the guy's name, but one of the guys who put the curriculum out talked about how the scholastic curriculum was created to create more workers than it was to create more business owners, right? You know how many people go through the standard curriculum and get jobs because they think that they're good jobs and that they'll have a good life when they don't even actually want to do the thing? That's a big mistake, and that's a big issue, right? So, like, I can't give you a percentage. I can tell you this, like, this business model changed my life. Like, my wife is an immigrant. I was a felon, no high school diploma, but we were busting our face. This business model changed our life. We've helped tens of thousands of people across the globe change their life, and this business model works. I can tell you that. I can tell you this. This is the only two ways that you're not going to be successful with this business. If you don't start, you don't try, you'll never know. And then if you start and you try and you're just gambling or like dipping one toe in, chances are it's not going to work and you failed before you started, right? So if you start on a clean slate and you really don't give up, it's inevitable that this thing works, right? It's just the math is in your favor. And that's what I challenge you guys to do, is to do your own research. Like, if you Google how many sellers are on Amazon and how many buyers or consumers are on Amazon, the pendulum is insane. It's not even in the same stratosphere. You have less than 3 million sellers and you have 250 million consumers, right? The math isn't there. There's too many products that aren't sold. There's too many products that don't have enough sellers. And then there's too many buyers and not enough sellers. Amazon's entire business is fueled by people like us selling more SKUs and becoming more profitable. You can also, as an educated investor, someone who wants to start this business, you can Google Jeff Bezos' letter to shareholders. Like, I highly suggest, as an investor, someone that actually is in the business or wants to be in the business, that you're reading from the CEO himself. All this is publicly accessible. You can see what Amazon is doing to help sellers, how they're differentiating, how they're innovating, and what are they doing to help people like us succeed, right? If someone were to start an Amazon FBA business, what are some things that they can do to get consistent growth? Good question, Chandler. So I would say when you're starting, let's go to the whiteboard really quick, and I'll make this fast because when I touch this thing, greatness happens and greatness takes time. So what can we do as a seller? What can we do to us as a seller to have consistent growth? This was a mistake that I made, right? Let's look at this as a growth chart. And let's say 2022, we start our business, right? And this represents $0. This represents, let's just say, $10,000, right? Well, a mistake that I made is I literally started and I went like this and I scaled and I didn't want to make a triangle. Let's try that again. And then I went like this. Now, this is a plateau right here. This is what you do not want right here. Let me make this red. You do not want this. This is what you do not want, is this stagnant growth or this plateau, right? This is what you want. So instead of that chart, how can we, and let me see if I make a blue one so it doesn't conflict. Heck yeah. All right. This is what you want. Because all volatility is bad. Even though this looks awesome, that's bad. Right? Why? Because this happened after it. So this type of growth is not sustainable. This type of growth is sustainable. So we don't want this type of growth. We want this type of growth. So how do we do that? So you have a launch. Then after your launch, let's say that you're launching with PPC. Then about here, you could implement influencers. Influencers, right? Then about here, you can implement press. And then here, blogs. And then here, Facebook, and I'm making up letters now. Facebook, Google, etc. Right? So what I want you guys to understand is too many people try to throw everything here in the launch, which is okay for the launch, but what I did is I threw everything at the launch, and I had this growth right here, and then I plateaued here, right? I plateaued here, and the reason why I plateaued here is because I threw everything there, and then it was working. I was cash flowing, thousands of dollars per day, so I was like, mission accomplished. I'm successful. So always be breaking or always be improving, right? A, B, B, or A, B, I. Always be breaking and always be improving. We were taught, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If you scale really fast and then you're at $2,000 a day profit, $60,000 a month profit, and you were poor previously, I'm not touching that thing. I'm cash flowing that thing. That was a mistake I made because I lost millions of dollars on the table. So contrary to what we're taught, if it's not broke, don't fix it, constantly break it. So how do you break it? Constantly be improving the packaging, constantly be improving the quality, constantly be improving the functionality, constantly be improving the customer experience, constantly be improving what you're adding, constantly be innovating. Most businesses that go out of business due to lack of innovation. Write that down. Every time I say that, I get hit with this history, you ever see in the movies, when you go back in time and you see yourself as a kid, whenever I say write that down, there was this teacher, Mr. Dwyer, that I hated in language arts. And he had these sticky notes all over the place, and he would hand them out to his students. And whenever he was teaching a lecture, he would always yell, write this down. And when he would turn around, we'd chuck the notes at him and stuff. Anyway, every time I say that, I go back down memory lane because I used to roast him. And now it's writing things down has changed my life because a sharp pencil is better than a sharp mind. You will never remember all of this stuff. But if you write it down, and you implement it, it'll change your life, right? Information on me, execution on you. So anyway, this is how you sustainably grow and the great way to grow because volatility is bad. Even though this may look good, it's bad because you grow fast and then you flatline, or you grow fast and then you can't sustain it and then you crash and burn. If you can sustain growth and have a non-volatile growth pattern, that's what you want. And the way you do that is by adding stuff along the way, and by constantly breaking and improving. So that's how I would do that. Great question. Dude, we answered 3 questions and we're at 30 minutes already? This is why this thing is an hour with a millionaire when it's called 30 minutes with a millionaire, right? If it's okay if we over-deliver here on the channel down below, say it's okay. What's your advice to someone who makes just enough money to pay their bills to get the money to start Amazon FBA? Chandler, it's a good question. Is Chandler the one that asked that last question? Yeah. Chandler's on fire, man. Shout out to Chandler. If you don't ask, they won't tell. So if I have any fraction of what you would like to achieve in life, I may be the person you want to ask a question to. So shout out to Chandler. Guys, those of you who are like in positions where you could get life-changing questions answered, you don't ask the question, one of the most valuable skill set that's free is asking questions at the right time, asking the right questions at the right time. So, all right, back to the whiteboard on this because this is one of my favorite subjects to cover because I actually have firsthand experience on this because I was working minimum wage for $7.25 or $5.25, whatever it was, $7.25 several years ago before I became successful. So here's the thing. If you have time, more times than so, you don't have money. Wait, I did this backwards. Yeah. You don't have money. Okay? And if you have money, most of the times, you don't have time. So, if you are working 40 hours per week, if you're working 40 hours per week, that's 160 hours per month. This is going to change somebody's life, so pay close attention. If you're working 40 hours per week or 160 hours per month, and you are not where you want to be at in life, you have to understand this. Change can only happen by choice, never chance. So I need you guys to become at peace with this because I'm going to show you how to change your life and make more money than you've ever made in your life, right? Change can only happen by choice, never chance, okay? So right now, and this is okay. Some of you guys, this is not what you want, and you're going to identify this is not what you want, this thing called success. Some of you guys who are striving for success but haven't been able to find success because of this time to hour ratio, this is going to show you how to become successful and what you need to do in order to become successful. In fact, it's not a strategy, it's a choice. Change can only happen by choice, never by chance. The change that you want, the success that you want, the access to more time, more money, more abundance, it doesn't happen by a strategy. It happens by a choice. Chances are you already know what you need to do, but you haven't made the choice to do what you need to do in order to have what you don't have, which is what you really want. Let me show you how this works. The easiest way, and here's the thing, most people say, well, I work 40 hours a week. I want to double my income. How can I do it? Work 80 hours a week. Problem solved. You pick up twice the amount of hours, you make twice the amount of money. The problem is nobody wants to do that. So if you don't want to work more hours for more money, you have to make more money with less hours. How do you do that? Through a high income skill set. The traditional miseducation, misguidance, directional misleading system, as one of my mentors, Myron, calls it, will never show you a high income skill set. How can a high school dropout, a felon who is married to an immigrant, make over $25 million online? How? It wasn't the traditional education system. So you have conventional education, you have non-conventional education. A traditional education will make you a living, and a non-traditional education will earn you a fortune. So you have to learn a high income skill set. Now, how do you learn a high income skill set? You rather know somebody like me or somebody who can teach you a high income skill set for free because they like you, or you pay somebody. I'm going to keep it real. Can I keep it real on the channel? I'm not going to like BS you guys. Like, how do you learn a high income skill set? Well, how do you learn any skill set? Someone teaches you or you pay for someone to teach you. Like, we're going to cut the BS. He's trying to sell courses. I could give a damn less if you buy any of my stuff. I've been rich the last 7 years. I'm just going to tell you the truth, right? You want to learn a skill set, you want to be a lawyer, you go to college. You want to be a doctor, you go to college. Well, those careers end at $150,000 to $200,000. You want to make $1 million in a year? You want to build $1 million business? You want to make real money? You have to learn a high income skill set. Whether you know someone that will genuinely, ethically teach you for free, which chances of that is slim. I was one of those people who, like, the universe looked out for, where I met my mentor through my wife and I learned a majority of this for free. But you bet you're behind. When I started making money, I started spending and investing in mentorship and in guidance because that's how I make all of my money. I find out who has the answers to my questions and I pay them to answer my questions, and I apply the knowledge that I learned from asking the question, and it makes me money. Poof. That's what I do. But I had a mentor. If you don't know a mentor, you have to pay a mentor. So how do you pay a mentor if you're only working 40 hours per week, 160 hours per month, and you can't even get by? Well, Josh, I knew that. I don't have any money to pay for mentorship. I don't have any money for a program. You have to make the choice. How can you create more money? What is in your life that is not necessary? And I'm going to help you with this list. And a lot of you guys are going to like unfollow me, unsubscribe, and not like me. But I'm going to tell you the truth that you can't find on YouTube. There's 3 things that you need: food, water, and shelter. Anything other than that is non-necessary. If you're going on dates and you're not rich and you want to be rich and you don't have the money to invest into the knowledge to become rich and you're going on dates, you're worried about the wrong thing. If you're worried about designer and fashion and all that bull crap, and you're not rich and you want to be rich and you don't have the resources to invest in yourself to become rich, you're worried about the wrong thing. If you're smoking cigarettes and you're not rich, if you're drinking booze, if you're smoking weed, if you are going to the club and you are not rich, you are sacrificing your success for today's experiences. You have to sacrifice today's experiences for tomorrow's success. Because if you don't sacrifice for your success becomes the sacrifice. So you have to make the choice today. Am I going to continue to sacrifice my future success, which I don't understand why I can't become successful. I can't understand why I can't break out of this rat wheel, this hamster wheel of the 40 hours per week and not getting by. Or are you going to sacrifice today for tomorrow? That's all you have to do. If you want to become successful, any of you guys, regardless of where you are, single mother, single father, working 40 hours a week, can't get by, I'm telling you how I did it. I worked 40 hours a week. My wife worked 40 hours a week. We had 2 children. My rent was $375 for a 1-bedroom apartment. I had to get Center Township assistance to pay for my rent. I had to volunteer at Salvation Army to get food to feed my family. I couldn't even do that. How am I going to invest in mentorship? Well, guess what? I sold everything that wasn't mandatory, everything that wasn't necessary. And then every spare moment I had went to doing something where I could earn income so that I could invest in myself and in my resources. Shoveling snow, cutting grass, doing side jobs. I learned a high income skill set. I got into construction. I was doing side jobs. You have to do whatever you have to do. If you have to Uber, you have to Uber. If you have to bartend after work, you have to bartend after you work. You have to sacrifice today for tomorrow, or tomorrow becomes the sacrifice. Let me tell you this. If you're under 55 years old and you're watching me right now and you can hear the sound of my voice, if you are under 55, it is going to be less stressful, less painful, and easier to sacrifice today for tomorrow than it is to sacrifice and have to deal with this later. To be in your 60s and 70s thinking about retirement when you've got less than a decade left, on this planet, it's too late. It's too late. If you're going to stick to this 40 hours for the next 40 years and then retire at 65, right, and think that you're going to become successful when the average life expectancy rate is 70, 72, it's too late. So, yes, the majority of my 20s, the majority of my 30s, have been sacrificed. However, I have the rest of my life ahead of me. Wife doesn't work, do whatever I want, travel all around the world, because I sacrificed today for tomorrow. And before I understood what all this personal development gibberish is that I'm teaching you guys was, because I invested so much money into mentors who were older than me and smarter than me and had more experience than me, I used to tell my wife this. And I understood this, but I didn't know it. Right? I understood the strategy, but I didn't understand how to teach the essence. I used to tell my wife, we have to drink water before we have to drink wine. Hey, listen, I know you want to go on vacation. I know you want to do this. I know you want to do that. I know we should be doing more for the kids, but you have to be selfish before you can become selfless. How can you help anyone in your family if you can't help yourself? It's all about you. And last thing on this, because I don't want this to turn into a motivation thing. However, a lot of people who are watching the channel and who are in our world are trying to figure things out, and they are in this rat race where they're trying to get ahead, but they just can't, right? You need to understand that the enemy is in me, and if it's meant to be, then it's up to me. What does that mean? Your circumstance, your nationality, your religion, your geographic location or placement, how many children, how many baby daddies you have, all of that has nothing to do with how successful you are now or how successful you can be, right? Because if you try to place those things as excuses, they are going to end up being weights that burden you and hold you back from success. I can attest to this because it happened to me. I blamed everybody. My parents, where I grew up, my nationality. I blamed everything except blaming myself. And when I took ownership and blamed myself, I realized that no one was coming to save me. That's when I went all in. And when I went all in, I went all the way up. All right? If you guys are picking up what I'm putting down below, say I'm getting it. Let's keep moving. Yeah, this is too much value for YouTube, man. This is too much. This is like a paid speech. If somebody was to pay me $15,000 to go speak. This is the type of quality stuff that I'd be teaching them. Is it a good time to start Amazon FBA in the winter season? So it doesn't matter what time of the year. It doesn't matter what time of the year or what part of the world that you live in. When we're looking at launching Amazon businesses or starting Amazon products, we're looking at a few things. We're looking at the trend, the historical trend and sales record of the product. We're also looking at the seasonality of a product. So we want products like this that are going to sell 24/7, 365, January through December in every country in the world. What is the difference between private label and a generic brand? So, that's different. Like I'll say this: like you have you have a generic brand, and then or a generic store or generic business strategy, and then you have a private label business model, business strategy. Anchor, I'm going to use them for example again. They only sell electronic accessories, and then the private label brand is Anchor, right? Now, there's tons of companies, and I'm just going to make one up for visual representation, but you could have Josh's Imports. Josh's Imports could be a generic company that sells all different types of SKUs. So I like to think about like a dollar store. You can go into a dollar store, and then they have different aisles, right? You have cooking, and then you have candy, and then you have books, and then you have bath, and then you have outdoors, and then you have children's. A dollar store or any store like that is a generic branded store, which means you can sell multiple things. Can you have a successful business doing this? Yes. I prioritize and talk about the private label brand. It's my personal recommendation. Is one better than the other? No, they both have their pros, they both have their cons. So that's why, going back to what I was teaching at the beginning of the presentation, you have to identify what business strategy do you want, and how, like, what is the goal with your business? To cash flow fast, to build legacy, to exit for a high EBITDA and then get into real estate? There's no right or wrong answer. It's what's the right answer for you. How do I become eligible for Amazon Buy Box as a seller? So Amazon Buy Box is primarily when you're doing arbitrage or wholesale where multiple people are selling the same UPC or ASIN. I don't really teach that stuff, but I can tell you, in order to be eligible for the buy box, there's multiple points that Amazon looks at. Some of the biggest ones are, number one, is the product Prime eligible? Are you a professional seller? Do you have a professional seller account? Is the product FBA or FBM? If the product is FBA, you're more likely to get the buy box. FBA is fulfilled by Amazon. That means you ship the product to Amazon. They store, pick, pack, and ship it. FBM is fulfilled by merchant. A lot of wholesalers do some fulfilled by merchant where they use their facility. So those are just a few of the big ones. For product packaging, does it make sense to work with a different manufacturer that provides better packaging, magnetic closure, sturdier, etc., or work exclusively with the manufacturer of the product? Frugal Jew, that's hilarious. Yeah, so yeah, of course. So it makes more sense to work with. So if you're manufacturing a product and they're the right manufacturer, but they can't make the box or the packaging that you want, you can find another company that ships the stuff domestically from China to China, and then they'll put the stuff in there. Or you can ask your supplier to help you find, and they'll help you find because they'll make a little kickback, right? So that's what we've done. It's funny that you say that because we've actually done that with one of our products. Gems. I bought the course. Never heard from anyone when I asked for help. Yenny, mix. Oh, you already emailed. Okay, cool. Our team already messaged you. Sweet. Is there a site that analyzes an item? Is there a site that analyzes an item's sell-through? So like there's different so Amazon's website, like Seller Central itself, gives you access to P&L statements. It gives you access to product statements. It also gives you access, if you're running paid media, to like different metrics, like in reference to ACoS and so on and so forth. So look in Seller Central, play on the back end, and then some tools like Jungle Scout also have integrations where you can integrate, and they'll also give you some additional data as well. And so we'll drop a link into, like, if the software that we use is Jungle Scout, and we'll drop a link on that. It's discountonjunglescout.com, but they have like a basic P&L stuff, P&L tool and resource and help with inventory. But Seller Central also has one integrated, which is a part of your professional seller account. If you're a professional, that's like the $39 a month. My question to you is to know how to buy, where to buy, and how to market. So how to buy, I'm assuming product, you would go to a manufacturer. We use Alibaba. It's one of the largest platforms to find manufacturers of products. Where to buy would be Alibaba. And then how to market. Everybody should start off with PPC, which is pay-per-click. Amazon has an internal advertising structure called Amazon PPC. And you can start with auto campaigns and manual campaigns, which is where essentially you tell Amazon the keywords that you want to market your product for. So charging station, USB charging station, USB-C charging station, six port charging station, fast charging station. These are all search terms, search phrases, and keywords. We tell Amazon, I want people who are typing in these search phrases, search terms, or keywords to see my product, and I will pay for anybody who sees it, clicks it, and purchases it. That's essentially what the PPC is and how it works. Awesome. What does Amazon launch? What does an Amazon launch event look like? The evening, venue, data, time, location. I'm not really sure what that question means, but like when I'm launching a product, depending on my strategy, it's almost like a birthday party. Like when you have a birthday party, you're planning the birthday party. Where's it going to be? What's it going to look like? What's the theme? Who's all coming? Who's going to RSVP? What are we going to eat? What's going to be for dessert? So when you're planning a launch, you have all these variables, right? How are you going to market your product? How are you going to get your reviews? How are you going to get your initial sell-through rate in order to increase the algorithm and increase your ranking, right? What are you going to do for maintaining reputation and reviews? What are you going to do? Like all of these different variables, and you just have to write an itemized list and then execute on them. That's like one of the easiest ways to do it and to stay organized while doing it. But again, like I can't tell you guys my launch strategy, because a launch strategy for a product that's going to sell, you know, less than 1,000 units and do 3 to 10K versus a launch strategy for something that's going to sell 10,000 units and do 100 plus K would be completely different, because they're complete different spectrums of competitiveness, right? I know that's probably what a lot of you guys don't want to hear, but those YouTubers and gurus that are telling you like launch strategies and perfect product finding strategies, they're just trying to sell you crap, right? Like affiliate stuff to software, or just trying to sell you courses. The reason why we have a call process for you to even know what programs I offer is because I can't tell you how we can help you become the most successful, right? Like I sold programs for years, and when constantly reviewing internally, how do we get our clients more results, more success, and how do we serve more people? Because this is a passion project, not a profit project. It all boiled down to identifying their needs and identifying their learning styles, because there's different needs and there's different learning styles. So that's the reason why we say, like, if you want to start this business, you want to work with us, I'm not going to sell anything on here. Schedule a call, because we have so many different programs, so many different mentorships, like so many different things that we offer, because it's not a one size fit all, right? So when you're looking for a product, there is no one size fit all, because we all have different risk tolerance. We all have access to different capital. We all have different end strategies. Some of us want to cash flow quick. Some of us want to be the next Beats by Dre, right? So it's not a one-size-fit-all shoe. How much do you recommend to invest in PPC when launching your first product? Depending on the search volume and the anticipated amount of units that we plan on selling per month, what I can do is kind of give you like a ballpark. We're usually starting with around $30 to $70 per day. So here's the thing. If I say I want to spend $100 per day, that doesn't mean that Amazon's going to go spend your entire $100 per day. You have to identify how much search volume there is, because if you put $100 per day, it may only spend $30 per day, and we call that the ceiling of demand. So one thing we try to do when we're starting our PPC is first we gather more search phrases, search terms, and keywords. Then we optimize for profitability, and then we scale and try to identify the ceiling. And the ceiling is how much can we spend? Because if we're crushing and we're spending profitably, we'd like to spend, as much as humanly possible. However, there has to be people searching in terms of that volume for what we're trying to spend. And when we find that ceiling, that's when we talk about vertical integration and scaling through additional SKUs, complementary accessories, semantically relevant child products, right? Like how child ASINs, how do we vertically integrate, because we've profitably met the ceiling for advertising on that product, if that makes sense. Sweet. That's all the questions? Right at an hour, dude. 1 hour with a millionaire. We really got to change this thing from 30 minutes to 1 hour with a millionaire. If you guys have any questions down below, go ahead and drop them. We'll blitz through them as we're coming to the hour. Again, some quick things to just serve you guys, help you guys win. First and foremost, shameless plug. Like, if you guys are returning to the channel or you're new to the channel and right now the red button does not say subscribed, please click the red button. Make sure it says subscribed. It takes a half of a second, no energy to do. That like helps us out so much. Next to that subscribe button is a bell. Click the bell that says, hey, dude, the stuff that you like that's going to make you a ton of money, like this guy's doing more of that stuff, so check it out. That's all it's going to do. So like all I want to help you guys do is increase your income, your impact, and your influence. I don't ask for much. Like, click the subscribe button, click the bell. That way you'll get notified when we do these lives every single week. We'll get notified every single week when we drop a new 7-Figure Product Series video. If you haven't checked out the 7-Figure Product Series video, this is a YouTube exclusive. Every single week I interview, or excuse me, kind of like an interview, I review a single product that is generating over $1 million in sales per year. I order them with my own money. I do my own research with my team. I pay for that, of course. And then here in my studio, we review the product. We review the metrics. We review the marketing. We reverse engineer how to find a successful product like that, what the product research looks like. We review the keywords. We review the trends. And then we review the actual packaging, the product itself. What does the inside look like? And I give you my personal feedback and constructive criticism. So if you want to build $1 billion business, we review them every single week, and I tell you exactly how to do it. So that is an amazing series, 7-Figure Product Series. You guys should go binge watch that now if you have nothing else going on. And then most importantly, like the video and share the video. Like, if you know somebody who could use more money or like would enjoy this stuff that we talk about, share it to your social media, share it with somebody. Sharing is caring, and it helps us out tremendously. Like, I give everything away here on the channel. I just generally want the community to win. And it's a little disheartening at times seeing a ton of these other influencers with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And then I watch their stuff and it's like bullshit. And they have like clickbait titles and thumbnails and they're trying to sell you software or sell you courses. Like, I'm literally giving you stuff that has made me millions of dollars. Like, this is an award for $10 million. Like, the stuff that I tell you works, and I've made a small fortune doing it. So that's all I give you guys is real implementable, actionable steps and information that has made me a ton of money, and that can make you a ton of money too if you execute on it. Don't make the mistake that a lot of people on YouTube make and a lot of people on podcasts make. They make the mistake of becoming addicted to education and allergic to execution. You can show up every single week. You can watch all these videos. You can listen to all these podcasts. But if you just get tinglies inside and you don't execute on the information, you're not going to get results, right? And that's what we want you guys to do, is to get results. So note takers are money makers. Don't become addicted to education, allergic to execution. Take notes, take copious notes, ask very detailed, specific questions. Identify the one thing you need to do right now after this live stream. Do it, implement, take immediate, imperfect, implementable action, and you'll get the results, right? We had, what, 2 other questions pop up?
Yeah. On Instagram, if I go on FBA, what other ways can I advertise my products to increase traffic?
What other ways can you advertise your product to increase traffic? My favorite one is influencers. Influencers are just people who have an influence in a specific category. So TikTok is huge for influencers right now. Instagram is huge. YouTube is huge. A hidden gem of mine that I like that nobody else uses is Pinterest. What mindset would you agree that $100,000 is suitable for a family, multifamily first investment? It depends where you're going to invest. So I own, crap, how many apartments do I own? 56. I own 56 apartments in Northwest Indiana and the Midwest, right outside Chicago. Those are around $40,000 to $50,000 per door. So for $100,000, you could get a duplex in a demographic like that. It's a C-class valuation asset. So you're probably going to be somewhere in a C-class, and you're going to be somewhere like an hour to 2 hours outside of a metropolitan area, but it's completely doable. You could also take the $100,000 and put that down on an investment property if you weren't going to pay for them cash using a conventional loan. So when you go to invest in real estate, like if you were to buy $1 million property, you would have to have $200,000 cash, which is 20% for a conventional loan. So you could buy a $500,000 property with $100,000 cash. That's 20%. And yeah. So you could definitely do that. What mindset tips would you give to a person just starting this business with a normal job? It has to work where it has to work, PJ. Like, I wouldn't make it complex plan. I would just first believe. Like, if you genuinely believe, then you can achieve, right? Like, first you believe, then you conceive, and then you can achieve. Like, if you believe this thing, like, the biggest mistake is people, like, and you don't have to be a mindset guru like me or like know all this like mind-bending Jedi like motivational quotes and stuff that I teach. All you have to understand is what I taught here, like at the beginning. And that is, there's two ways that you can fail: not starting or giving up. If you start this thing and it has to work, make it work. Like, and if you genuinely believe the thing is real and that you're going to be successful, then you're not going to like give up at the first sight of failure or the first sight of losing money or first sight of things getting difficult. Because if you don't have that level of resiliency, you should not start a business. Because, and people aren't going to tell you this, but every business, like if you want to learn how to trade stocks, you want to learn how to trade like indices, you want to start drop shipping, you want to start a private label business, you want to become a carpenter, you want to become a mechanic, you want to start mowing lawns, any business or any skill set that you learn or start in the universe, you are going to lose money, you're going to lose time, you're going to make mistakes, right? So the reason why people work 40 hours a week and just work traditional jobs is because they don't have the resiliency or they don't have the gut for the mistakes that are going to be made. But remember, failure is a form of progression. And if you understand, like, okay, I'm going to bump my toe, I'm going to bump my shin. However, I need to learn from the lesson, because a mistake is only a problem if you continue to make the same mistake. So when you make mistakes, rectify it immediately. Identify what you did wrong immediately. Because it's not like you're going to hit mistake. You're going to have a couple mistakes, and then you're going to get progression, or you're going to get like progression, or you're going to move along, and then you're going to hit a few more mistakes, and then you're going to knock them on. You're going to keep moving. And even though you had mistakes, you're all the way here when you started here. So if you understand that, like, and you're patient with the process, because this is what happens. People start, and things are looking good. Boom, mistake. They're like, all right, keep going. Boom, mistake. And then they give up. And they already have this much time, effort, and energy, as well as resources spent. And then when they give up, they go back to like whatever they're doing. And then boom, shiny object syndrome kicks in. They see another Facebook ad. They see another news article. They see another opportunity. And then they do the same thing. They start, everything's good. Boom, mistake or loss of money. Boom, family member doesn't agree. Boom, you know what, this isn't for me. And then they stop, and then they chill, and then they go back. And they're in this infinite loop of starting and stopping and starting and stopping and never finishing, where if you would have just spent that time in the first thing that you started, that effort, energy, and those resources into the first thing that you started, you'd be significantly better off than you are right now. So that's one of the hugest mistakes. I call it the infinite mistake loop that a lot of new entrepreneurs make. And it's fine, because we're all human. And you have to understand that we all have the same anxiety. We all have the same stress. And like, here's another thing that helped me a lot. And I learned this from one of my mentors, Myron Golden. So when you're about to do something that you've never done, you're fearful of it, right? Is it safe to say, how many of you guys, when you're getting ready to invest a bunch of money into a business or invest a bunch of money into a program, down below in the chat, say yes, that you feel a gut feeling, you feel something inside where you are fearful because you don't want to lose your money or you don't want to fail, right? Here's the thing that blew my mind. That's not fear, that's anxiety. Well, Josh, what do you mean? I'm fearful, I'm scared. You can be scared of a feeling of anxiety, but you're not scared of fear, because fear is false evidence appearing real. And the Wikipedia definition of fear is caution over a real and present danger. There is no real and present danger of you starting a business or investing in a program. There is anxiety. You have fear or anxiety over an undesirable event, right? Me trying a backflip and then like falling on my side and everybody laughing at me, that is anxiety, because that's an undesirable outcome. I make a fool of myself, right? Me going hunting in New Zealand, right, where like a freaking lion is 100 feet away from me, and if I miss my shot, he's going to get mad and attack me and kill me and rip me to pieces. That is fear. That's fear over a real and present danger. So if you understand that anxiety comes from a belief and you can control your beliefs, that means that you can remove your anxiety. So if before you start the thing that you're going to start, that you're having anxiety over starting because you don't want it to go the wrong way, what you're doing is fueling that anxiety, which is going to make you feel more of that stuff that you feel inside, which is going to hold you back from doing that thing, because you have to understand that your brain communicates with your heart to create several different types of chemicals in your body. One called serotonin, the other called dopamine, and the third called oxytocin. These three chemicals rush through your body and make you feel specific ways, right? Affection, fear, happiness, anger. All of these emotions come from our brain communicating with our heart that then communicates with our body to create these different chemicals that are aligned with that emotion. Well, you can create those emotions based off of your belief. So remember, you have to see it before you see it so that you can seize it. That is not motivational bullcrap that just happens to rhyme. If you don't see yourself successful and you start, you will never become successful. Because you're telling yourself internally, I'm not going to become successful. I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to gamble. How many of you guys have started something and when you started it, you were kind of gambling or you were kind of taking a risk, or you've even heard yourself subconsciously or to others mumbling things like, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try. I mean, do you give survival a shot? Do you give survival a try? No, there's no other choice. If you had that same level of conviction in your business and in your life, you'd have the same success that you have within life. Regardless of how poor or how bad your life sucks, guess what? You still survive every day. Doesn't matter if you're in the hood. Doesn't matter if your electricity's shut off. Doesn't matter if you have no power and you're in Northwest Indiana and you have to use your oven as heat like I had to when I was growing up. You still survive. There's no other option. So if you have that same level of conviction in your business, you'd have the same success that you have in life. It is all tied to a belief, right? You can believe that you're going to fail. You can believe that you're going to succeed. Guess what? Like, if you started off with a new business and you started off with a new investment, and regardless of whatever subconscious negative doubt that you had, you just kept just shutting it down like, I'm going to invest $5,000 in this program. Well, what if the program doesn't work? You're going to have that subconsciously. What if you said, shut up, it's going to work. It has to work. What if you kept doing that and you kept training your mind and talking positivity and success over your mind? Is it going to hurt you? Is it going to cost you more money? Is it going to make you feel worse? No. There's scientific studies. There's religious proof, and I'm not like trying to push religion on you, but there's religious proof. One of the oldest book that exists, and the reason why I use religion is because one of the oldest book that exists, the Bible, and before the Bible, the Quran, says that the tongue, right? The tongue inside of your mouth can speak what? Life or death. What does that mean? You can speak prosperity, or you can speak abundance, or you can speak lack. You can speak life, you can speak death, right? Now, let's take the religion out of the way and let's look at science. There is scientific studies. Have you ever heard the thing that says like it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile? Do you think that's a coincidence? Negativity has more impact than positivity, and we focus on negativity more than positivity, and then we're like fiberglassed as to why we can't become successful, why things don't work out. We blame everybody, anything, any outcome, any scenario, and we don't blame ourselves. When the enemy is in the inner me, and if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I was like poor and not successful, and my life sucked when I blamed everybody and everything. But guess what? When I decided to out-earn the problem, what does that mean? I'm poor. I can't get any work. I'm a felon with a high school diploma. I have to go through a temp agency. I can't even get a real job. I can't pay my bills. If I kept complaining about that and drowning in my own sorrows, I wouldn't be where I am now. I decided if something's going to change, it has to start with me. The change has to start with me. Change your mind, you change your life. So what can I do? Hey, these are the cards that I've been dealt. Let me do everything that I can in order to change my circumstance. I started learning other skill sets. I started doing extra stuff. I started going to Goodwill and flipping shirts on eBay and on these different websites. So what can you do right now? Instead of focusing on the negativity, what can you do right now? Right? What can you do right now? And when you're getting ready to start something, we all are going to have the same thought process because we're all humans. You have to understand that your brain communicates with your heart. It's tied to your heart. And the two body parts' jobs are this: to keep you safe emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. It's all around keeping you safe. It isn't like it's very interesting that no one teaches a baby deer, hey, baby deer, don't go over the cliff because you're going to fall and die. the baby deer just knows not to go towards too close to the edge because the baby deer can die. So why aren't animals taught this? Because the brain is already programmed to keep us safe. Well, when you're getting ready to invest in something that you've never invested in, when you're getting ready to start a business and you've never started a business, you're getting ready to do something that you've never done. So take this and hold this off to the side. In order to have results that you've never had, you have to do things that you've never done. So take that and hold that off to the side. Now that you understand the difference between fear and anxiety, when you do things you've never done, you have one of two feelings, which are both belief. Anxiety, which is caution over an undesirable outcome. That means nothing's going to happen to you that's going to take your life or put you in life danger. However, an undesirable circumstance could happen. And then you have the belief of fear, which is caution over a real and pleasant danger. Remember, if I drop out of a helicopter in Africa and there's lions around me, I have fear because one of these things are going to kill me, right? If I'm a child and I'm in front of my school and I'm doing a talent show, I have anxiety that I'm going to pee my pants and everybody's going to laugh at me. Two different beliefs, two different emotions that are created by a belief. So when you start out, if you understand you're doing something that you've never done, instead of focusing on what if it doesn't work, challenge yourself to ask yourself, what if it does work? And focus on the benefit. So, and me and my wife's coach, they say this saying that's very clever. Words create worlds. Please, if you're going to invest in yourself and you're going to start a business and you're telling your friends that you're going to gamble on this or you're going to give it a try, if you have self-doubt in the back of your mind that you think it's a scam or you think like that it's BS or whatever, don't save your money. Go to work the next morning because you failed before you started. Like in all of our fundamentals and all of my programs and all of my trainings, it starts up here, right? It starts up here. If you can get this stuff down, the strategy, the formula is easy. How to find a product, how to differentiate a product, how to build a brand, how to market, how to sell it, how to reach out to influencers, how to add more products, how to get into Walmart, how to sell your business. All of that shit is easy. The hard part is how to continue to go when you make a mistake. How to continue to invest in something when you lose money. How to continue to invest in something, time, effort, and energy when your family says you're an idiot. That's the stuff that's not in programs, and that's the reason why people fail. Stop allowing people with small minds to contribute to your big plans. You know how many people told me, like family members, people I looked up to told me I was an idiot? I'm a high school dropout, no education, no college degree, and a felon by the age of 18. And I'm telling my family I'm going to try to start a physical product business where I sell products online. My goal is to retire my wife, retire my mom, and travel around the world while making money using just this. Do you know how stupid that sounds? It sounds too good to be true. In fact, how many of you guys have said to yourself, man, this sounds too good to be true? It sounds too good to be true because nobody in your family tree's done it. And you're allowing influence in your life from people who you love and look up to, so they have influential power. However, they're not where you want to be. Stop taking advice from people who you wouldn't trade places with. If you wouldn't take marriage advice from your divorced uncle, why take millionaire advice from your 65-year-old parent who's not where you want to be at, who's hoping to pay off their house before they die? Been driving the same car last 20 years. I mean, it's not sexy, but it's the truth. So think about these things when you start your business. Implement this stuff. Understand there's only two ways that you can fail at anything. This isn't some like sales pitch. Like take Amazon out of the picture. Whatever you want to try, you're going to have two beliefs. Fear, anxiety. It's not fear. You're not going to be hurt for investing your money. It's anxiety. Where does the anxiety come from? You have one or two overlying beliefs that you're going to lose all your money and that this thing's a scam and that you're going to make a fool of yourself, or you're going to prove everybody wrong. At first, I had the anxiety that I was an idiot and that this stuff was a scam and this wasn't going to work. And how could some stupid idiot that can barely read and write, who doesn't have a high school, has a 9th grade education, how could he be a millionaire? That's what I thought. And I started to almost believe people. But when I shut everybody off and segregate myself from everybody who wasn't where I wanted to be at, guess what? Years later, they all asked, how did I do it? and can you teach me? People will ask you, why are you doing what you're doing? And they will tell you it's not making sense. But if they're not where you want to be, don't listen to them. Very simple. Don't allow them to have influence over you. That's what I got for you guys. Again, remember, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you like this. Share this with other people. If you want to work with me and my team, if you want to learn about our programs, if you want to learn about what we do, schedule a call. It's absolutely free. Do it right now. www.oneproductawaycall.com. You have nothing to lose, potentially a new business or guidance or your questions answered or clarity that you could receive on the call, right? Like, we don't care if you buy our stuff. Our team that deals with sales, they all know our mission. Like, if we notice somebody is like trying to sell stuff and they're not a good fit, we refund the money because I don't want any headaches. We only want to work with people who believe in what I teach, who believe in themselves, who believe in the business, and want to get to their goals faster and easier. That's what we do, full transparency. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. God bless you guys. And I'll see you guys next time.